Hi, Dang.
Hi, Dr. Lopez. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Hi, Rich. Hey, Day.
Hi. Hi,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Good evening.
Oh, my camera. Oh, here we go.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
No, hi.
I only see three of us so far.
So far. Sophie is not going to join us tonight.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
So Carrie and Kevin, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh, there's Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hello.
Hi, Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
You're on mute.
It's only 7:01. I'm not really late.
No, you know,
Hello.
right? Not at all.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Same
New
to
Year.
you.
Here comes Kevin.
Kevin's playing Ding Dong Ditch.
Yeah, right. Should we admit him again?
It's slowly letting him join.
Yeah. Liv made it in. She was in the waiting room too. I don't know what's up with Kevin.
Hi, Liv.
There's Liv.
I live.
Hey, Liv.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Can you
Same to
hear me?
you.
Year. I don't know what's going on with Kevin.
Yeah.
I think we should probably get started. I'm sure he'll join us. Oh, there he is.
There
He's
he
in now.
is.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Sorry, it was telling me I had to admit him, and I didn't realize I had to do that.
Interesting.
I had the symbol too, but I
Yeah,
just didn't do
same.
it.
Oh,
I
wow.
kept hitting
Maybe because
admit.
you guys are all co-hosts. It gives
I
you the
I
option.
I assumed the admin needed to do it.
Oh, I did do it too. It's weird.
Yeah, so
Were you really trying to keep Kevin out? Is that what it is?
not at all.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We'll just do a roll call. Sure where that's coming from. Addie,
Adi Bengali.
Al,
Yeah.
Carrie,
Here.
Kevin, Joan,
Here.
and Rick here. Rick Lopez. So
It sounds like there's a lot of
yes.
background noise.
Somebody has to
Yeah.
mute themselves. I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
That's it.
that sounds like it. Yep. Thank you.
stopped whatever it was. All right, so in terms of tonight's agenda, we're gonna Aday is gonna introduce the new health inspector. We're gonna review the minutes from the last 3 meetings, public comment if there is any. We have a request, or we'll have a discussion about a community church refrigerator, which is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
And then we'll do our updates and wrap it up. So it seems like it'll be pretty straightforward. So in terms of our new inspector today, do you want to introduce him? You're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lopez. I would like to introduce our new health inspector, Zarihan Ayele. Zarihan previously worked as a health inspector for the city of Medford. He has a strong background in public health and prior experience conducting environmental health inspections. He received his master's degree in public health from UMass Lowell. Please join me in welcoming Zarihan to our health department.
Welcome.
Welcome, Zarian.
Welcome, Jen.
Thank you. Thank you
Welcome.
Welcome.
so much.
Zarian, do you want to say 1 or 2 things about yourself? Or
I mean, you say that. So I can. What I can say is just I'm so excited to join this team, and I cannot wait. To do my best to protect the health and safety of our community, and it's a very good opportunity for me to work with you guys. So
Great
Sounds
to have
good.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have you, for sure. Okay, so in terms of the minutes from our November meeting, which was a regular meeting, then we had these 2 sort of short December meetings. Any, I'll handle them all 3 together. Any edits, comments, or suggestions on any of them? Yes, Carrie.
Thanks. On 11/24, page 2 of the CHIP update, it refers to peer associates, and it's pear associates, like the fruit. So just fixing that. And then I didn't know our protocol, because I noticed on the December 18th minutes that Liv was listed under members not present, and I didn't know if members was voting members or Board of Health members or not. I know we want to keep track of who's here or not, but
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was I was going to mention that as a typo. Actually, for both the December meetings, Liv is mentioned.
oh, is that right? I
Members
missed that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so we probably ought to just delete that and just, yes. You got that, Haley? Okay.
Great job, Haley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that, any other edits or suggestions other than those 2 comments? No? Make a motion to approve the minutes for November 24th, December 8th, and December 18th. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, Kevin. Roll call roll call. Sal,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Rick, yes. So those minutes are approved. I don't see any members of the public online. So I think we can move on from that. And Aday, was the pastor of the First Baptist Church gonna
I don't see him here. He
I
probably,
don't see him. Was he planning to attend?
yes, he probably forgot about it.
I know we're so forgetful, you know.
But I mean, we can still
We can
have
still
that
talk
discussion.
about the
We can
issue.
still
Yeah.
talk about it. Correct.
Yeah, man, and if he joins us, we'll hear his comments. So do you want to go ahead and frame the topic and what it's all?
Yes. So pretty much the proposal is that they would like to have First Baptist Church at 45 Woburn Street would like to have a community fridge outside. And I was doing some reading about it, and this all began, um, you know, it came about in order to like fight food insecurity and waste. And multiple municipalities have been accepting the proposal. I think they have about 200 locations in the state of Massachusetts. They have some locations around the world as well. You know, um, but the thing is that the idea doesn't really fit into any category. The Department of Public Health does not have any guidelines or regulations specifically for community fridges. The town of Reading does not have any specific regulations as well. Um, so it just seems like ultimately it would fall under, the same guidelines for food safety. But again, the idea is new. I mean, it's not that new, but it's still new. It's not something, I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's not something that I would like to, encourage. I wouldn't like to see like 15 community fridges in the town of Reading. I wouldn't like to see that. Um, but the idea behind it is kind. So if the board were to allow this to happen, I believe that certain food safety guidelines need to be met, and I have a few that I can discuss with the board. So, for example, I think that the fridge must be located, on a non-porous surface with access to electricity. I know that the electrical outlet has to be a special kind of electrical outlet, so that needs to be approved by the building department, the electrical inspector. And this is just my personal opinion. I think that it should be located, under a surveilled area, if possible. I also think that there should be an enclosure to protect the fridge from weather elements. I believe that there should be a thermometer with a data logger inside the refrigerator just to monitor the temperature, remotely. Like you don't have to be there. You can just go on, your iPad and look at the temperature. Just make sure it meets the appropriate temperature. I think that the fridge should be in a well-lit area. I think it should be well illuminated in the interior. And I believe that a person in charge must be assigned to monitor, the fridge, to make sure it's in proper sanitary conditions. It's maintaining the proper temperatures. I also believe that the person in charge, must schedule regular cleanings and sanitizing to prevent, unwanted debris from accessing the refrigerator, unwanted food residue, dirt, and dust. If the board were to allow this, I feel like the board has a role to play in terms of what food items would be permitted. For example, I don't recommend like out of date expired or expired foods. I know that in some grocery stores, you can sell food items that are out of date. As long as you label it as, out of date and you let people know that they're out of date, you can sell those. So I wouldn't recommend any of those in this fridge. I wouldn't recommend food items that have been repackaged or, opened. Let's see. Food items that I may recommend will be like whole, fresh, uncut produce, prepackaged, unopened produce, unopened dairy products. Let's see, factory packaged and prepared meals, such as, frozen meals and canned soups. Again, it will be the responsibility of the person in charge, the person assigned to the refrigerator, to ensure that the fridge does not contain food items that are not allowed. It won't be the Board of Health. It won't be it won't be the job of the Board of Health or the job of the health inspector. We can't keep going out and, inspecting a community fridge like every second. We can't keep doing that. So somebody has to be assigned to that refrigerator, making sure that things are going properly. Also, the board has to determine if, prepared foods would be permitted. And if the board allows it, it won't be like leftovers from somebody's dining table, It will be like food prepared by a licensed food establishment, a restaurant, under the supervision of a food safety manager. You know, again, it seems like it's not complicated, but it really is. And I think that if the board were to allow this, the church needs to like come up with a good standard operating procedure, that is, that makes sense. That the board would approve.
So let me, we have a couple of people with hands up, but let me just step back 1 second. I have not actually heard of this concept until 2 days ago when a day brought it up to me. And it appears that it's an idea to address food insecurity. It looks like, as I did some research on it, that a lot of these community refrigerators or fridges sort of started at the tail end of the COVID pandemic. I think that, so the idea is that either private individuals or charitable organizations or churches would put a refrigerator not inside a building, but outside. And with the concept that take what you need and leave what you can. It reminds me of those sort of community book things that we see in some front lawns where people have a little bookcase. It's almost, and people take a book and they leave a book, and it's just a shared community thing. Well, it's the same thing with food. The big difference, as Ade points out, that makes it potentially of concern of this board, is the fact that unlike a food pantry, where like the Reading Food Pantry, which pretty much takes boxed foods and canned foods, and people collect them, and then they look and they make sure they're not expired, and then they hand them out. It's a very that's a very safe environment. This environment is people bring potentially perishable foods to a refrigerator that's outside on someone's lawn. And other people would come and potentially, obviously, take those foods if they need them because they don't have access to them. And that raises all the issues that Ade brought up around, proper maintenance of the food and the environment in which the food exists, whether it's, frequent temperatures and so forth. The interesting thing about it, as I did a little Googling, was that there's probably a couple dozen of these around the greater Boston area. And that, as Ade said, there's no DPH guidelines, and actually communities in general that I've seen, I haven't, I could be wrong, but everything I looked for, it's the Board of Health or the health department hasn't promulgated specific regulations for community fridges. What they tend to have done, and I saw this, there was a city of Cambridge thing that was fairly in depth, was the Board of Health and the health department would produce a set of guidelines that they would ask the individual responsible for the community fridge to adhere to. And obviously the health department would also respond to complaints about food safety that might come up from the community based on that. Ultimately, the health department and the board would have the authority to shut something down if there was a real food safety issue that wasn't remediated. But unlike food establishments, not necessarily a permit every year, inspections, 1 to 4 times a year, like we do with food establishments. So it's sort of that approach, which it seems like a number of communities have adopted, would be an in-between approach. We could decide to either say, no, we won't allow these in our community, but seems like a couple dozen other communities have said it's fine. I'm not sure that sends the right message around our concern around food insecurity. And the other option is the other end of the spectrum, which would be to create a set of regulations specifically about this, which, as Ade said, would require the inspector to inspect these. Probably this would be a 4 times a year type of inspection, given the nature of the situation. So I was hoping that the pastor would be here, but he's not. So I'm gonna we can have a discussion and see where we end up on this. So I start, Sal, do you want to comment?
So I guess this is my my expertise, because I live this every single day, and all my senses went off when I started hearing this discussion. I guess I love the idea and concept. Like, yes, I definitely 100% want to feed people who need to be fed. But in my head, having untrained people, putting stuff in a refrigerator, would the people be trained? I don't know. That's one question I had. But the list of things that came in my head were cross-contamination, allergies. If you're putting nuts in, nobody knows what's touching what. Sanitation records, who would be keeping track of sanitation records? Temperature records, outside contaminants. If you're not washing your hands before you touch the food, you're not washing your hands before you touch the packages, somebody could go in and have something on their hands, touch this one and be like, oh, I don't like that one, put it back, take the next one, right? No, the next person doesn't know that happened, right? Temperature records, I said, outside contaminants, and you open the door and you're in an open environment, you're not in a controlled environment anymore. How long was the door open for? Did the door open and defrost everything inside the freezer? Possibly. Nobody will know that. Our rat problem. Seals on refrigerators aren't that rat proof, right? Ready to eat food is very high risk. That's like the most high risk food the biggest hazard you can have is ready to eat food. Unlabeled product. So if somebody cooks something and brings it there, nobody knows what the ingredients is in that product anymore, unless somebody labels every single, ingredient they used. The last ones were like, the food is being produced in a a space that isn't a manufacturer. It's not under any guidelines, right? So somebody's making it in their kitchen. I, you know, I hope everybody's kitchen is clean enough to serve people, but you never know. Did somebody, it's kind of gross, but did somebody go to the bathroom, not wash their hands, come back out and try and make you food, right? This is like right in my wheelhouse. This is what I do every single day. And all red flags come up. I would love to be able to get to a point where I'm comfortable with something like this, but I'm really struggling, you know. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Good points.
Yeah.
Carrie?
Thanks. Yeah, this is where I kind of hate some of our work because it's like talking to the infection control people at the hospital because after you have an infection control orientation, you want to wrap yourself in plastic and never touch
Exactly.
anything, right? And it's true, but it's also limiting. I mean, I sit on a few different committees and I've just been binging out to folks and I haven't heard anything back yet. I'd be interested in, I think this is a great topic actually for MIHA or maybe MHOA of kind of how do we approach this? Clearly, it's happening in other communities. It's being established, right? Just Googling real quick, I got a dozen, and there are departments that I respect those health departments. There are communities in which I respect those health departments. So I'd be interested to know what their kind of process was and their thoughts were, not to say we do the same as them, but to understand what kind of things they went through on it. So I guess I wouldn't want to say, I don't want to say yes right now, but I also don't want to say no off the bat. I'd like to know some more. And I don't know if this is something that I don't know if a day or Zahun, if either of you are active in MIHA or wanna if it's something that you would want to pursue as talking with your other colleagues and make a report back. And I'm happy to share with you what I get back from my colleagues, our colleagues as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love to be completely wrong too. I'm not saying I'm
Right.
against it. Like I
No, no.
want this to happen. Like I came off like a Debbie Downer, but I really want this to happen. I just want it to happen the right way and people to be safe.
Absolutely. And I guess, I mean, the thing is that we have to kind of figure out what's you're right, Sal. There's all of those risks are completely accurate. You're 100% right. The question is the risk profile and how much what is the likely impact, right? And that's what I want to understand a little better.
Same.
So that's all.
Thank you. Addie?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I know I'm an associate member and I have no vote, but hopefully I can chime in and give my 2 cents. I mean, just like Sal, I have a maybe auxiliary background. I work in pharma, vaccines, and cold storage, and all that is,
Yeah.
is second nature to us. And especially I'm in manufacturing and supply. So all those concerns that Sal expressed are like on point. I do think we can alleviate some of those through like temp tails and continuous
Sure.
monitoring and things like that. But the question then becomes like, who is monitoring that, right? I think that's the fun part. And part B of this is like my heart says this is such a good effort. And
Same.
I come from India, and for me in America, when I see this food wastage every single day,
I know, right?
without it being accounted for. But I know the liability part with it, right? I know people are just scared getting sued and whatever that is. So I know this is a very random offshoot from what Kerry said. How can we explore this more, right? I think rather than, I don't know if it's a yes, no vote today. Can we deep dive this a little bit? Can we see how can we make it maybe I know waivers sound such an escapist way, like, oh, if you're taking the food, then you're taking the accountability and all that. But I think there's a combination of factors that we can enable as this Board of Health that you have your temp controls, you're monitoring, you have your checks and balances, and then the person who's taking is like, I know what I've seen, and I think this is something that goes with my risk profile. I would rather have the food than worry about if it's past like 1 day shelf life or something like that. So that's just my 2 cents on this. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Patty. Other thought, Kevin?
Sure. Oh, Kevin.
Off mute here. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with what everybody's saying. And I think, the simple answer here is there are no answers, right? So it's like I have a billion questions and zero answers. So right out of the gate, I'm a no, just because of that factor alone. I don't need to know any other factors other than I have a billion questions and no answers. And I think everybody's kind of in the same boat where it's like, on paper, in a vacuum, what a great idea. Like,
Yeah.
what a great idea. Now, how do we make it work so it continues to be a great idea? That is probably my biggest question that I have. I think the fact that, what'd you say, about 12 communities have adopted this, Rick? Something like that?
When I looked at the map, it seemed like at least a dozen. Yeah, at least
Okay.
a dozen, maybe more. And I don't know if it's a local Boston, Massachusetts thing, or this is sort of a national thing, because I'd never heard of it before.
National.
This seems to me like something that you take a step back and you watch others fail at the product. And, Reading's got a very good history of not reinventing the wheel. Let somebody else figure it out first, step in, make it better. And we've done that as long as I can remember volunteering. And I think this is a perfect example of that case where we have communities that are already doing it. They're already working through the minutia of all the questions that we have. They've already figured out a lot of the problems that we have and come up with solutions, or maybe they haven't. And that's useful information as well, too. So I look at it from a standpoint where there's so many questions and we already have, for lack of a better term, a test product out there to kind of pull information from. I'd wait and see on this one a little bit because it sounds like it's more problematic than it's worth. And I get the premise where we have, the argument would be, well, you have the food pantry. Yeah, but that's not anonymous, right? So this would be anonymous, which is wildly helpful for somebody that has food insecurities, right? So that would be a wonderful thing to have, even though I'm not casting anything on the food pantry. I know they are wonderful people down there. My daughter volunteers down there. They're wonderful people. But again, I can see where some people may be hesitant to go in there and ask for help, where this is like, I can go in there at 2 a.m., get what I need, nobody knows it, and I can walk away. That's a great thing for that person. So, like, I get all the positives, but right now there's so many questions. I think we let the other communities figure out. I think we, nudge those communities like, hey, how's this program going? How's this working? How did that work out? You were told this would happen. Did it happen? I think that's probably the best approach for this. And I think it's a slow approach, unfortunately, to come up with the right solution for what Reading can do in regards to this. In the end result, I'm all for it. I just want to make sure that we do it in the right way.
Sal?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, is there any way we could get photo? Like, I don't even know what type of refrigerator they're using. Like, maybe there's an option where we can use 2 refrigerators and mark them like nuts, no nuts, like, like separate things a little bit. Like, it's just in my head, my brain is spinning right now because my food safety self is like, this is like a horrible idea, but my like humane self is like, I want to feed as many people as I can, right? So I
And it's
want
like,
to
how do you
get
open
there.
how do you open the fridge is my first question.
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. Like,
anybody just pull that sucker open?
is there
Or
a
is there like
lock? Is there a,
is there a lockbox code on there that somebody
I
needs
mean,
to punch in? Is there,
Nothing.
yeah. There's like the,
right. So
we
that's
go through
hugely
like,
problematic if there's
yeah,
nothing. I mean, and I know again
right.
it defeats the anonymous part of it, but that's one
No,
of the problems.
right. And not to think nefariously, but where like your bioterrorism comes in, right? Like, so do you
I
really
always think
want,
of teenage boys more than
well,
bioterrorism, but we'll go with what you got.
which is bioterror, the same thing. Like, you can, adulterate the product and then you're making people sick on purpose, right? It's just, there's no food security there to my brain.
Mm.
But I want to feed people is my problem.
Carrie?
I think Joan, I've already talked once, so I think Joan had something I want to let.
Oh,
I
okay.
just-
Go ahead.
voicing my opinion, and I think I think it's very similar to everybody else. This sounds like a wonderful idea, and it may fill in some areas that people from the food pantry aren't able to provide. But there are certain very important questions that need to be answered. I myself am from the world of microbiology, and quite familiar with what can go amiss with bad food. Also, my guess would be that people who have allergies would not use this.
Right,
Not that,
right.
that means that, not everybody knows they're allergic to things and whatnot.
Exactly, right.
But, I think perhaps with some careful guidance from other towns, as Sal and Kevin have mentioned, that there might be a way to make it work. And I would like to pursue further information to see if there would be some possibility. Zerhan, was there this in, I believe you were in Medford? Did they have one in Medford?
They actually do.
They do, yeah.
Zarihan, are you there?
Is he familiar with how that worked?
I mean, it may be that, as Ajay said, people are saying, you know what, this isn't in our purview. We don't like it, but it's not in our purview.
I
And
believe
that's one of
Melrose
the
has one
questions.
too.
They
I
do.
just feel like if people get really hungry, hunger makes people do, things they would normally not do. So if you were allergic to something, you might take a chance and go in there and eat, I'm just doing
You're
Yeah,
doing worst case planning, which
Right.
is right, which is right, but
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, and not to put an attorney's hat on, but where's the liability?
There, so
Is there?
So-
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carrie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way that these have been framed in the other communities, and this is, I've just done a very quick and dirty research. So these are mutual aid benefit, right? So there's not a liability, right? This is a caveat emptor. A person goes in and they take their thing, right? This
Good
is
Samaritan. Good
a
Samaritan
mutual
law, right?
aid, mutual benefit
Yeah.
thing. And what I want to know, I would like to propose that, as I was saying originally, that we ask Aday and Zerhun to survey, the dozen that we've come up with just by Googling, and ask them a handful of questions that we have of how they approach it or what they've chosen to do or not do. And then, as I said, I've reached out already to my colleagues in the training hubs and in the Mass Association for Environmental Health, and I can contribute the information that I get from them. And I'd also ask that that Aday and Zerhun look at the cottage food regulations, because I think that might be similar. For folks who aren't familiar, cottage food is it's a residential kitchen, basically, and it causes the same kinds of concerns that everybody had that we've been voicing here. But there has been a successful move, and it's gotten through some of those organizations I work with, and their standards are a little different. So I think looking that maybe it fits under those. The standards we're talking about are kind of like vaccine fridge requirements. They're very comprehensive, and I want people to be safe, but I don't want us to over-engineer something. So I'd love to know, what are these other towns? Have they decided they have no role? Have they decided, have they gotten guidance from town council that says, no, you're good, just stay out of it? Are they enforcing anything? And then I'd also be interested in a look at the cottage food law and seeing whether that might apply in this circumstance.
So I
Can I
think the
ask a quick question? Oh,
the
go ahead.
difference between the cottage food and this is that the cottage food is permitted by the health department. We actually permit
Right. Well, and that's the question,
like,
Aday, is we're
with
trying to
having a-
figure out,
yes,
do
having a-
we, that's what I'm saying, Aday. Sorry to cut you off. That's what I'm saying, is there is a way to regulate, and do we do it in that fashion, or do we not? And I think I want to say too, like, if folks are familiar with Lasagna Love And the food pantry that's like the little library, little free library. There's a couple of little free food pantries around town. Maybe folks don't know about it, but they're out there and people are getting food, and it might be expired and it might be dented and it might be whatever, but it is happening. So I think I just want to open us up to the idea that we don't necessarily have to engage in this is where I'm
Correct.
going. That's what I'm
Correct.
trying to.
The board doesn't have to be involved. We don't have to
Right.
permit those fridges.
Right.
Right, can I ask a quick question in regards to that? Sorry to cut you off, Kerry.
No.
So I know we used to have, and I'm asking you, Dave, if we still do. We used to have on the books where if a church wanted to have a function, for example, and they wanted to do baked goods, and it was a giveaway. There's no money exchanged. It's everybody shows up. It's a potluck kind of thing. They need to just apply to us for to tell us that they're having this, to which we give them a sign that says the Board of Health has nothing to do with this this exchange. Caveat emptor, right? You're at your own risk. Don't.
Correct. For
This has not
potlucks.
been. We still have that in the books, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so this would kind of fall under that same
Mhm.
guise. It sounds like where we would just need to post something that says, hey, you're this is at your own risk. The Board of Health has not inspected this. They do not monitor this. This is not up to them. This is not on their purview.
Right.
That to me seems like this is a perfect case of where this would fall if we can get this to work.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'm just reading a couple things on their website, just a couple rules. It's like food should be kept in a clean, airtight container to avoid food spills. Label meals with ingredients and the date prepared. If you notice a fridge needs to be cleaned, help clean it. So, I mean, I don't know, people like outside taking all the food out and like bringing their own stuff and cleaning the fridge. Like, I don't know.
Actually, Sal, I would say
It
yes.
is. Yes, they are.
If you go up to the community gardens we have up in Matera Cabin, I
Mm-hmm.
would actually say, yeah, the people that are going to
Yeah.
do this, they're actually
So
really kind, dedicated people, and
Yes.
yeah, they're going to bring in their
yeah.
own cleaning products.
I don't doubt that
But
at all,
there
Kevin.
is, I know where you're going with this because there is that off chance.
But
My
like
whole thing is, and this sounds horrible.
yeah,
Say it though anyway. My whole thing's liability. I'm always looking at liability.
right. So
So if
my
we're liable for it,
yeah,
then I don't have as much of an issue with it so long as people understand specifically, like big bold print on the front of the thing. The Board of Health has nothing to do with this. You're at your own risk.
I guess yeah.
Correct. But we have
I-
to state that. So, for
Correct.
example, if somebody goes to the fridge and they get poisoned, they may be able to sue the church.
Correct.
And then they can come back and say, well, the Board of Health approved it. So as long as we have a disclaimer
right here.
stating that we do not approve,
We would-
community fridges.
Yeah, I think we'd have to ask town council a day as well. I mean, it's are we really exempt from being sued?
If we post,
We
yes,
are? Okay.
establish
Okay.
that. Yeah, if we
Okay.
post it, we are.
And I'll say as well, you can't cure a liability. You're never exempt from being sued. We're in a litigious society, and somebody can
Right, true.
decide that you
Correct.
can get a lawyer who's going to
True.
say, yes, we're going to name everybody. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so same kind of thing. You have to kind of measure the exposure.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
said, though, I still would slow play it. I still would find out
Oh.
all the information
Right.
that other towns have gathered and before
Right.
we make a decision on it.
I mean, back to the cleaning, right, Kevin? So somebody goes there and wants to clean the freezer on a 90-degree day, takes all the stuff out and puts it on a table or I don't know where. And then, because that's how my mind works about food safety.
Yep.
Leaves it out for maybe they're a slow cleaner and leaves it out for 45 minutes, grows some bacteria, puts it back in. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I want it to work. I 100% want it to work.
Maybe there is some kind of measure that other towns have worked with private organizations to ensure that that exact thing hasn't happened or that it's
Yeah.
So
I'd
Again,
love to
this is
know.
like-
I'd love to
all
know
I
how they
know is
run
we
it.
have a whole host of unanswered questions that I would
Yeah.
like answers to that would make me feel a whole lot better about it. I feel
Same.
great about it from a human standpoint. I think it sounds amazing. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we have. I just want to make sure that we have all the questions we have answered, so we can make a more informed decision.
One picture I
We
see
should
on
we should
there.
embrace the liability part, right? Why not do a waiver? And I'm assuming this is not a fridge where today Adi just decides that I can't feed my whatever, right? And then I just go in and whatever. There probably is a system, there's probably paperwork to be filled in, there's approved list of people who go in and whatnot. I think we can set up the controls and again the waivers, the paperwork, everything that kind of exempts the town. It is a litigious society, Kerry. I fully agree. It's the biggest difference I've seen in
Right.
United States compared to any other country. But maybe we can put the safeguards in, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a litigious society. We should be careful. I'm saying it's a litigious society. That's not a reason that I've seen liabilities, concerns about liability slow down things that ought not be slowed down because it's something you can't ever cure, but that doesn't mean you don't consider it. And
Right.
this is a fabulous philosophical conversations, but, yeah, I think we just,
yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't be scared of getting sued if I was feeding people, put it that way. That's my take on it.
But you're not feeding them, Sal.
Al's going to be down there cleaning. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I know.
I want to go on a field trip to one of the other ones. I want to go see how it is. Now I'm interested.
My personal feeling would be if there is some mechanism that still allows people to remain anonymous, that has a push button keypad
Yeah.
that locks and unlocks, the fridge. I'd feel a lot more comfortable about it for the people that are taking the food out, quite frankly, because at least there would be some checks and balances to who, excuse me, as to who that information went out to, and even if it's held by one source, and it doesn't need to be held by more than one.
So I'm gonna, I think we can wrap up this discussion. What I'm hearing is that we're gonna ask Aday and his staff to do some homework, before the next meeting, and probably convey to the pastor that we haven't made a decision about how to approach this yet. But specifically, what I heard is, one, to survey other towns in the area, how they're doing it. Have they set up their own regulations and permits, or have they just done guidelines? Or are they ignoring any responsibility completely? We need to hear what a half a dozen towns in the area who have this are doing. Second, we probably need to check with town council as to whether there's any legal liability for us, not doing anything. And where she would see this kind of fit in the whole regulations. I think, Aday, if you could also speak to the Department of Public Health that may have some background ideas, have been thinking about this, can provide any helpful information, that would be useful. And then, Carrie, it sounds like you could maybe speak to statewide public health organizations that may have some knowledge about these and how communities and some sort of principles that they would recommend we follow. It just sounds like we just need a lot of information from all those areas in order to try to decide, are we going to regulate this with permits? Are we going to ignore it? Are we going to forbid it in this town? Or are we just going to provide guidelines and hope for the best, and caveat emptor? I don't think we've reached a decision. We clearly have not reached a decision. We just need more information.
Yep.
Can I just say one more thing, Rick?
One more
I just
thing.
want to, one more. I just want to say, the beauty of the public health practice community is exactly what we're asking Aday to do, right? So I'm going to talk to my colleagues who are trainers. We're funded by the Department of Public Health. I'm going to talk to the central trainers at the Department of Public Health who are developing the training programs for the food safety inspection programs. I'm going to talk to all the different health directors that I know out on the listservs that we have. Aday and Zerhun can do the same kind of surveying, but this is how local public health functions, and this is how municipalities function. It's a beautiful thing. Somebody has kind of grappled with this already, and we want to pull in on it and figure out what they've done. And, we'll take, as Kevin said, maybe, we'll see what the first bite at the apple did, and then we'll decide what we want to do, whether it's we're going to keep watching this one or whether we're going to keep going. But thank you for bringing it to us today, and because it's fun to have a nice spirited conversation about
helping people.
Yeah.
yes.
And keeping them safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. That was a good discussion. And hopefully we'll have some insights next month.
Great.
Yeah, sounds good.
So a day, monthly update, nursing report, and so forth.
Okay, so for the month of December, we conducted 2 housing complaints, 10 food establishment complaints. We issued approximately 15 temporary food permits, and we mostly focused on the renewals and getting the health inspector position filled. All right, I'll hand it over to Liv.
Thank you, everyone. Let me just pull my PowerPoint up. Okay, so Happy New Year, everyone. So for the month of December, for last month, we had 135 flu cases and 25 COVID cases. Flu is definitely on the rise. We're seeing it all in hospitals all over the state. Respiratory illnesses, RSV's very high right now. So everyone stay safe. Let's see. Yeah, please continue to stay safe, wash your hands, use caution when in large crowds, especially if you're seeing vulnerable individuals in the near future. And most importantly, if you feel sick, stay at home. Oops. These are my January blood pressure screenings this month. I just had one today at the Pleasant Street Senior Center. I have one on the 15th at Frank Tanner at 10 a.m. and on the 26th at the Reading Public Library at 2:30. I just wanted to highlight some more things. Last month, we saw a lot of norovirus in the schools. As some of you may know, I just wanted to bring attention that it's still running rampant, so wash your hands, prepare food safely. We've had a great discussion on that tonight. Disinfect surfaces properly, and if you're sick, stay home and do laundry and clean up. It is Thyroid Awareness Month. Just bringing attention to hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. This went out in the town manager minutes. It's also National Blood Donor Month this January. We actually have 3 events happening right here in Reading through the Good Samaritan Lodge at 110 Haven Street in Reading, Mass. January 6th already passed, January 15th, and January 29th. You can donate locally, and you can sign up right on the Red Cross website. It is also Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Oh no, my image is a little wonky. I'm so sorry. But 1 in 4 women haven't been screened as recommended. So if you know of anyone that needs to get screened, definitely encourage them to. My hands-only CPR classes are live for sign up. The January one is already full. The March one has 3 more spots, I think. So sign up for May, July, September, and November. Oh my gosh, I have to fix all of these images. What happened to my Canva? So sorry, everyone. All right, and then just bringing attention back to this, my diabetic supplies take back program and my medical supplies take back program. That was actually something that the select board talked about, how they didn't even know about it, and I was like, I talk about it at every board meeting. So all right, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Liv.
Thanks, Liv.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liv.
I have a question, actually a comment and a question. One is with the spike in influenza cases, I went on the mass.gov website and saw that they have town by town vaccination rates. And Reading's vaccination rate for influenza was 49%,
Wow.
with the statewide average being something like 33 or 34%. So we really did, thank you very much for your work, because we did a good job there. And similarly for COVID, although the numbers were lower, it was something like, Reading had something like maybe 30%, and statewide it was like 15%. So, so those are all good things. The question I have, and I don't know, and I don't feel strongly, but I heard today that the city of Boston was actually opening up flu vaccination clinics again, that they hadn't planned, but they've decided to do it because of the widespread involvement of influenza, and whether any of that would make sense for us. I know it's obviously late in the season, but what I've been reading is that there's
All right, pointed to Liv. I think she has a.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand. So I got an email today, saying that Mary Giuliani, she's the nurse over at the schools, they have one scheduled coming up. She emailed me at 6:26, so not that long ago. But we actually have one coming up that I'm going to start advertising tomorrow, hopefully on the 23rd from 3 to 5.
Oh, great.
And that'll be at the Coolidge Middle
if
School.
that gets really booked, I mean, there's a
Yeah, we can
should have
do
more.
some. Yep.
Because I think people are concerned,
Yeah.
particularly with
Yeah.
the pediatric deaths and
Can I ask a question, Rick?
Sure.
49%. So I hear 50-50, and you sound happy with that. And I'm like, oh, that seems low. Is that historically average, high? Like, where is that? That's just 50.
That's a good question. I want to say typically we're at 70.
Okay.
70 or 75, but
that would make more sense to me. Okay.
Yeah, I would go with that, Kevin.
Yeah.
What I would think.
All right, so we still need some work here. So
I mean, there's still opportunity there. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Liv. Anything else today?
Yeah, I have a few things to share. Let's see. So the shared services collaborative coordinator position got filled.
Good.
I'm just her name is Lydia Sweetser. I'm planning to, have her meet the board at a subsequent meeting, but at this time, I'm just giving her some time to settle in before this happens. I had a discussion with the town manager. He would like me to present our proposed fee schedule increase before the select board. So we're working together to make it happen. We are also working on a new animal control contract. So the way it works is that they used to be employees of the town of Wakefield, and they would work for Reading, but we would reimburse the town for their services. And at this point, they no longer work for the town of Wakefield. So we are looking at creating our own contract to keep them on board. So I'll be meeting with town council next week to get the contract executed, if possible. And we are also working on amending our private wells regulations. I will keep the board updated.
Great. Okay. Any other comments, thoughts, final suggestions? All right, sounds good. Make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second,
Roll call, Sal,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Joan,
yes.
and Rick, yes. Bye, everybody. See you next month.
Next month.
See
Yeah,
you
everybody.
next month.
Bye.
Stay warm, stay
Bye.
healthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brian.
Bye-bye.